welcome all present Next Gen Leaders Virtual Summit, 8-day long, the largest ever career summit in Bangladesh. Right now, we are actually having all together 90 speakers from all over the world, Europe to America to Africa to Asia to Iraq to Macedonia. So Harvard professor to Bangladesh's various universities professors to 100 university students. 100 universities we have launched. We are launching, in fact, during this 8-day long Next Gen Leaders Virtual Summit by presence by Augmedix in association with IPDC Finance. Our gold partner is Prime Finance and Investment Limited, strategic partner Jump Movement Asia, Key Leadership Institute, Wadhwani Foundation, and our career partner is Kormo by Google. Please download Kormo by Google app and register yourself, create your profile, and you can get a job closer to your areas based on your skills. So what are you waiting for? Our knowledge partner, rakumari.com, our outreach partner, Youth Opportunities, and this program partner is Future Icon. Augmedix presents Next Gen Leaders Virtual Summit. Today is day 6. We're almost closing, and tonight is one of the very core of the heart, how to connect emotionally and influence others. Who doesn't want to influence others? Everybody. But the problem is, do you know how to connect? And you will know today for sure. If you don't, applying emotional intelligence. And that's the how. Let me introduce the wonderful panel from Bangladesh to Kenya. Let me introduce our guest first, Carole Kimani, founder and chief executive, the Consulting Hub. Carole Kimani. It's wonderful to have you here, Carole. Good evening.
Good evening, Carole.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Ladies first, Rushdina Khan, Chief Executive Officer, Training with Rushdina. Rushdina Khan, thank you so much.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to this program again.
Thank you so much for having me amongst you. I'm really, really happy and excited. Looking forward to this event.
Wonderful. We are too. Next, Mr. Arif Zaman, Director, Academic Affairs, Canadian University of Bangladesh. Arif Zaman bhai, apnake shagotam. Welcome to this August.
Thanks a lot, and it's my pleasure sharing the screen with some of the greatest minds. So I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. We are waiting for Mr. Tanvir Shahriar Rimon, Chief Executive, Ranks FC Properties Limited. If he is in, so let me have him. If he's not, probably he's going to join with us very soon because he's fixing his computer and internet. So before we begin, so let me also bring a small video of Augmedix, what they are, what they do. Let's watch. Augmedix video, please.
কেমন চাকরি চাস?
মাল্টিন্যাশনাল কোম্পানি, ভালো স্যালারি, মাসের 1 তারিখে 2 দিন ছুটি, 2টা বোনাস, দ্রুত প্রমোশন আর সাথে হেলথ ইন্স্যুরেন্স, ভালো খাওয়া দাওয়া, খেলাধুলা আর সাথে জিম, কাজ শেষে বাসায় দিয়ে আসা। আর কি লাগে?
এর জন্য আমার 50,000 বছর আগের কাঁচা ঘুমটা ভাঙালি। অগমেডিক্সে যা, সব পেয়ে যাবি।
Augmedix hiring scribes.
ও ভাই, ইংলিশটা একটু ভালো করে দিয়ে যান না।
Wonderful. Those are joining right now from various places all over the country, students and professionals. So welcome everyone. Tonight I think is going to be an igniting session, isn't it? I'm excited. And before we begin, there is an exciting announcement for women tonight. Students, we are giving 100 scholarship worth $100,000 US for 100 student at least. Apni jodi finance career korte chan, and if you're woman and if you have passion to build career in finance, so this is the scholarship for you, and you can apply with your CV and you will get international program. And this is the email. Each student $1,000. The program we are giving for you free. So we're looking forward to have your CVs into this email. So let's begin tonight. How to connect emotionally and influence others, applying emotional intelligence. And let me introduce tonight's keynote presenter of the session, Mr. S.M. Arif Zaman, Director, Academic Affairs, Canadian University of Bangladesh. Please welcome Mr. S.M. Arif Zaman to present his keynote.
Thank you, Kamrul Hasan Bhai. I'll be presenting now. I don't know whether this file is not coming. Okay, so I have chosen this title because I think that the world needs more emotional leader this time, emotional intelligence leader who can take care of the world right now. So unlocking your emotions to make a better world. We are going through the worst time of the human history, I guess I should say, and it's a very challenging time. And those running business organizations are trying to save jobs and pivot creatively. Leaders in academia now working through new processes for ensuring student progress and holding graduation, যেটা আমরা আমাদের বাংলাদেশে লক্ষ্য করছি। Everybody is trying, and আমাদের public university গুলো এখনো খোলে নাই, and they are thinking how they can open it in the coming days. And public health experts are making recommendations for people in poverty-stricken areas where social distancing or hand washing are unattainable luxuries. So you see that আমরা বলছি যে সেফ থাকার জন্য আমাদের এই ধরনের ইউজ করতে হবে। আমি নিজে দেখছি যে প্রত্যেকটা দিন আমি যদি হ্যান্ড গ্লাভস ইউজ করি, I have to spend 30 টাকা আমার মাস্ক ইউজ করতে গেলে। So nobody is talking about that actually. It's a cost basically. Leaders in ministries of health in low-income countries who are struggling to share honest information while staving off fear and violence. So that is exactly happening all over the world. And so there is no doubt that leadership will be one of the most heavily tested skills throughout the coronavirus pandemic. The most heavily tested skills. How leaders are, taking the challenge and that coming in front and take the challenge and having the courage to take care of others basically, and whole world is actually looking at them. আমরা যে কোনো একটা অর্গানাইজেশন যে চিন্তা করি 100 জন 200 জন 500 জনের কোম্পানি আছে, how the leaders are basically taking the challenges in them. So why emotional has become more crucial right now? Most of us know emotional intelligence এর দুইটা পার্ট আছে, একটা হচ্ছে self awareness and social awareness, and right now we are going through changes. There are drastic changes, and এই সময়টা আমাদের it can intensify our emotions, and when we are operating from a place of stress, our self awareness is really the first thing to go. So most of the times we forgot basically, we self awareness টা আমাদের চলে যায়, এবং as a result of this we lose our filter and we often slide a bit further into our comfort zone. So দেখা যাচ্ছে যে আমরা অনেক সময় অনেক বেশি রিজিড হয়ে যাই, এবং এই কমপ্লেক্স টাইমে এই rigidity can do more harm than giving the better solution. So emotional intelligence is crucial when navigating uncertainty and change. If I have the high level of emotional intelligence, I lead to more adaptability and more flexibility. So আজকেই আমার প্যানেলিস্টের সাথে কথা হচ্ছিল যে I am one of the most flexible person. Like কিভাবে আমরা ফ্লেক্সিবল হতে পারি? আজকে আমরা যখন ক্লাস নিচ্ছি, অনেক সময় আমাদের স্টুডেন্ট বলছে যে স্যার আমি একটা ভাইবার টাইম দিয়েছি, সে বলছে স্যার ওই টাইমে আমার কারেন্ট চলে যেতে পারে। সো আমি বলছি নো, ওকে, আই এম রেডি ফর ফ্লেক্সিবল টাইম। সো লিডারদের কাছ থেকে ওই জিনিসটা আসতে হবে যে হাউ ফ্লেক্সিবল দে আর, হাউ অ্যাডাপ্টেবল দে আর। ফার্স্ট থিং যেটা আসলে হয়নি অনেক দেশেই, আজকে অনেক বড় বড় দেশ এই কোভিড টাইমে ফেল করেছে, বিকজ তারা কিন্তু এই রিয়েলিটিটাকে অ্যাকসেপ্ট করে নেয়। They were just like this type of people, like what if we don't change at all and something magical just happens. So but আমাকে রিয়েলিটিটা অ্যাকসেপ্ট করতে, which is a very important piece of emotional intelligence. So I have accept that it is going to impact me, our business, our employees, our customers. So the sooner you accept that, the better prepared you will be to minimize the damage when it does happen. And that's a clear-cut example of the countries that failed to basically address. So same thing is happening with the company. অনেকগুলো কোম্পানিতে আজকে অবস্থা খুবই খারাপ, লে অফ করতে হচ্ছে এবং তারা জানে না কিভাবে স্টার্ট করবে, বিকজ তারা অনেক দেরিতে জিনিসটাকে অ্যাকসেপ্ট করেছে. This is the first thing is that acceptance. And now if we go deep into the organization, you see that there is a shift in the hierarchy of needs right now. We are no longer here. Let's not talk about the self-actualization or all that stuff. Let's focus on the security and safety first. But মজার ব্যাপার হচ্ছে যে আজকে আমি এই সেফটির কথা চিন্তা করে শুধু বসে থাকলে আমি হবে না, because we have employees, so many employees are there, like যাদের এই হায়ার লেভেল নিডটাকে আমার চিন্তা করতে হবে. They look for truth, stability, authentic connection, self-esteem, growth and meaning. So how we can address একই টাইমে দুইটাকে অ্যাড্রেস কিভাবে করব, that is the challenging thing now for the leader. Now actually I have analyzed and I have taken this from a Harvard Business Review article, and I think this is one of the ways to take care of the situation from the leader's perspective, that you just divide the thing into three pieces. One is that what is happening right now and how we can reopen, and what will happen after the post COVID. So তিনটা জায়গা আমরা ভাগ করতে পারি. Now during the COVID time, when we have to do the home office, so at that time we have to ensure our workers' physical safety. We have to ensure the security as well. Now, what I have understood that is missing in Bangladesh to some extent, and I think that all over the world also maybe, I am in a favor of opening a relief funds. I'm calling it home insurance. That suppose I have 500 employees there. So প্রত্যেকটা এমপ্লয়ি আজকে 100 টাকা হোক 1000 টাকা হোক একটা ফান্ড কমিট করুক, এন্ড এই ফান্ডটা জমা হবে এবং এমপ্লয়ীদের মধ্যে যারা এফেক্টেড হবে তাদেরকে এই টাকাটা আমাকে দিতে হবে. বিকজ আমরা অনেক সময় বলছি যে কোভিড হওয়ার পরে লেট দেম কাম ব্যাক আফটার দে গেট কিউরড, বাট মোস্ট ইম্পর্টেন্ট থিং ইজ দ্যাট ইট কস্ট বেসিক্যালি, এন্ড নোবডি ইজ টকিং অ্যাবাউট দ্যাট. আই হ্যাভ ফাউন্ড আজকে যে এফেক্টেড হয়েছে একটা ফ্যামিলি, মিডল ক্লাস একটা এমপ্লয়ি, সে তো আসলে নর্মাল লাইফই চালানো তার জন্য স্ট্রাগল, এখন এই যে এক্সট্রা একটা কস্ট, এই কস্টটা কোথা থেকে আসবে? সো মাই প্রপোজিশন ইজ দ্যাট লিডার শুড থিঙ্ক ইন দ্যাট ওয়ে. লেটস ক্রিয়েট এ রিলিফ ফান্ডস right now. And another point that I have felt is basically the senior executives and board of directors take up. Like আমার কাছে মনে হচ্ছে যে লাইক একটা কোম্পানিতে টপ 10% 20% এমপ্লয়ি, if they can suspend their luxury for 3-4 months, it can save the jobs of 50% people. Actually, it can save the jobs of 30% people. So that actually we have to take that decision. এবং আজকে আমরা বড় ভালো এক্সাম্পল দেখছি, বেশ কিছু সিইও কিন্তু তারা বেতন নিচ্ছে না, তারা বলছে যে আই উইল নট টেক দ্য স্যালারি, বিকজ টপ এক্সিকিউটিভ যারা আছে তারা বেসিক্যালি তাদের স্যালারি বা কম্পেনসেশনটা মাচ অ্যাবভ দ্যান দ্য বেসিক. সো লেট দেম কাট দিস লাক্সারি রাইট নাও and let it share to the bottom level to save jobs basically. And there is a shifting of leadership approach right now. We are shifting from the masculine superhero concept to the human touch. During the crisis, we need the leader to be strongest, convicted, great analytical and problem-solving minds. But this is not going to work during that time. We need more human touch. We have to demonstrate the vulnerability, the empathy, and combine a science-based approach with a more human touch. And that is, I think, that has touched me. Like many countries that seem to be going through this crisis the most effectively, Germany, Taiwan, New Zealand, Iceland, Finland, Norway, and Denmark are all women-led. And I really thank to our coach Carole bhai, because আজকে আমাদের paneliste out of 3, 2 are women. So 66.66% women. So I think rightly put, I'm the only guy who will be there sharing the stage. So fantastic. So I think that our people will get more idea about the women, like I should say that feminine touch, the human touch they will get. So the leaders have to practice that one right now. And now let's go for the second one. I think that right now mostly আমি যদি বলি বা পুরো পৃথিবী বা আমাদের দেশ এই জায়গাটা আছে যে রিওপেনিং হচ্ছে. So how we can reopen it, how the leadership, how the emotional intelligence can play its role at that particular time. So bring back as many people as possible and ensure the ongoing communication with the existing and furloughed employees who are in the temporary like not in job, and we have to celebrate the good news. That is my point. And I really am an advocate of that. Like no matter what happens, some things you cannot control, but let's cheer us up by celebrating the some good news. So whenever there is a good news, let's celebrate. And highlighting the company's activities contribute to the common good and making difference in the people's life. So I think that that can inspire the employee to give more focus on that part actually, rather than thinking what they have lost in the last 3 or 4 months. So now we need to have the deeper understanding of workers' need. That's the empathy component. We have to find out যারা ফিরে আসছে তাদের মধ্যে 60-র উপরে কারা বেশি আছে, কয়েকজন আছে। তারপরে কাদের হোম অফিসে কাজ করতে পারবে না তাদেরকে আমার ফিরে আনতে হবে, এবং হাউ মেনি সাফার ফ্রম মেন্টাল হেলথ ইস্যু, যেটা একটা সবচেয়ে আনটাচড এরিয়া। এই মেন্টাল হেলথ ইস্যুটা নিয়ে আমাদের চিন্তা করতে হবে, and to what extent do some employees have deep need for social interactions which make it more important for them to be with other workers sooner. So we have to have the more deeper understanding and more customized way each and every employee কে আমাকে টাচ করতে হবে। And the last phase আমরা চলে এসেছি সেটা হচ্ছে যে like after, and I'm more interested on that one. Like আমরা আজকে ফিরে আসছি, সবাই হাহাকার চলছে, and today I got a call from প্রথম আলো that tomorrow one of my article is going to be published. Like যারা জব হারিয়েছে তারা কি করবে আসলে, এই পোস্ট কোভিডে যারা ফিরে আসার পর চাকরি কিভাবে পাবে। So my point is that like mobilize the business understanding and sense the purpose of their employees as input to their planning process. So এই জায়গাটায় কোম্পানিকে পুরো rethinking করতে হবে and uncover and unleash the significant new growth, and that is very important. আজকে আমরা কেন চিন্তা করছি যে আমার কোম্পানিটা স্মল স্কেলে অপারেট করবে, rather think about it how I can utilize my human resource to do something more, to open a new avenue. So Best Buy example ta nite pari. Best Buy company, they have unlocked the latent demand it didn't know was available to it by deploying an in-home advisor program, a new tech support service. You see that তারা advisor program টা চালু করেছে, এবং the company also entered the health market deploying tech to help aging seniors live longer at home. So this is my point basically. Now the company has to rethink যে আমি আমার হিউম্যান রিসোর্সকে চাকরি থেকে বাদ না দিয়ে, which is the easiest thing to do. You see that the manager and the leadership, the big difference. And I think I should say that the leaders with the emotional intelligence component, they will be thinking in a different way. Laying off from the job is the easiest thing they can do, but rather I request that okay, think about it, how I can expand my operation, how I can be into more operation and utilize the human resource in a better way, right? So these are the basically 3 areas I really wanted to address, and I hope that if the leaders now practice emotional intelligence, I think that we can create a better world in the coming days, and where we can thrive again. So thank you. So that was from my part, and I think that who will be now taking the lead. I think that Carole can go with her presentation.
Okay. You can hear me clearly?
Oh, yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay, cool. Arif, bhai, bahut shukriya for your beautiful presentation. And once again to Coach Carole, thank you very much for this platform and allowing us into your space to be able to share knowledge and actually also get some knowledge. And a huge props for organizing this, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot of commitment and dedication. So very well done. So I will dive right into the myth, right into emotional intelligence, because we are thinking about the next generation leadership. And it kind of brings a feeling of nostalgia. I was a baby just the other day and used to get advice from people, and suddenly boom, we grew up. So it's actually very exciting to do this. And well, my background is legal. That is what I actually trained for. But how I broke into emotional intelligence came from when I started developing brands and then developing people. And then I actually thought, when I was doing my legal profession, what are we taught when we are the kids? What is actually even the next generation being taught in school? because I feel it is very heavy on IQ versus EQ, emotional intelligence, whereby, you know, it's about your memory, it's about your math, your calculations. And I think it's very important that EQ is actually taught in school, because once the students are out of school, what happens to them? They actually do, yes, it's a beautiful world, but we have to be pragmatic. It's a broken world too. You don't go to school, study, become a doctor. No, it's not going to be easy. I will be very honest with you. So, heads up, I don't sugarcoat very well. I just get straight into it. And I think it works very well and works in tandem with what life is after you have left school. Because nobody is going to baby you out there. Life comes up with punches as well. So I got very concerned about some wrongs that I did not understand. Well, I was also growing up. Your values are different because, you know, there's a hierarchy of leadership from when you're a child to when you're in school, when you start working, when you have a family, when people rely on you. So all this passage you will actually change. And I remember saying to my mom, I was very concerned about not wanting to work as a lawyer in Kenya. I mean, obviously, I thought it would be like LA law or, you know, something fancy. No, it wasn't. And I kind of had to deal with the little social ills that happen. And what now actually led me into the interest to do with emotional intelligence is my mother's wise counsel, because she'd always say, Carole, do your part. Once you do your part, at least you've done it. It will touch people. If it doesn't touch people, at least you did your part. And that's how I expanded my efforts towards that. And so what I basically want to say with this point is, if you want to save the world, start with yourself, your family, by instilling a functional value system. Because at the end of the day, it is these very same families from the individual you that form a citizenry. And that is how we become who we are. So it still comes from home-based values. And I was thinking, and with my main focus on the next generation leadership, who are looking upon us to guide them, though not unique to them, let's do a litmus test whereby, you know, think about yourself 5 years, 3 years back. If you are truly the same and have not changed, then you need to do something about it, because it's very clear that there's no growth right there. And emotional intelligence is basically about people. I don't want to go into the technical definitions of it. Sorry, there's Google for that. I want to go into the soft issues about it and how it affects you in life, because not very many people are fortunate to have mentors who actually kind of pave the way for them and kind of let them know what is happening ahead. So, when it comes to emotional intelligence, let's think about self-awareness. It's about interpersonal skills and intrapersonal skills. And, well, be compassionate, be all those beautiful things. But because of what the system has kind of conditioned us to be, you kind of get disappointed because you have a degree or a doctorate, masters upon masters, and you're still at home, you have nothing, you can't find anything. And so what I basically want to say to you, even at the workplace, you could have your boss, let me just go with the word boss, and you kind of feel like your boss picks on you. But but perhaps your boss is not picking on you. What I need I need the mind shift and a solid mindset that when it comes to self-awareness, it is not about you. You need to think about the other people. How are you making them feel? So I'll give an example of a boss who comes to work. You all look up to him, very wise guy. His EQ is very high, but you still feel picked on. If for a minute you could stop thinking it's about you, it would make a difference, because perhaps he's not sharing what is happening in his life. Maybe he has just lost his home, but he managed to come to work. There are all these things that affect people. So it's very important to understand perhaps where someone is coming from before quickly shooting out an answer. And well, I'll give you another analogy when it comes to emotional intelligence. I've been listening to very many people during this process telling everyone you can be what you can be, dream big, let your dreams scare you. Yes, dream big, believe in what you can do. But at the end of the day, you need to be pragmatic. Because I'm imagining, I'll give you a case scenario. Perhaps I sit in the house, and when I'm in the bathroom, you know, I'm singing all the way, just bellowing out. And in my head, I think I sound like Runa Layla, Sabina Yasmin, Beyonce, Shahriar, all mixed in a bowl. But it's only in my head. I'm the one who thinks so. And so it's good to have people who actually tell you the truth as well. Because if, again, as Carole Kimani, singing out there, believing that I'm the superstar, no one beats this. And, you know, I keep chasing that lane. I mean, it's 5 years. I still think I'm these people. There's no record deal. You might want to change your course. Then on that, I want to quickly wrap with that. And then something that you also need to think about is life does change when you're out of school. It's a completely different world where you are not really shielded. You may think that you're not shielded now, but when you come out is when you'll realize what the true life is out there. So it's very important that you have healthy relationships. Keep quality people around you. And, you know, and set boundaries, because as you meet quality people, you're going to have to drop other people in your life. Sometimes it will hurt, but perhaps it's for the better good. And, you know, I think be like a tree, shed the leaves. Don't carry dead wood with you. Don't carry garbage with you. It's going to make you sick. So you have to be light. But on the same note, don't be a tree. You need to move. Then, so that's about quality people, and also quality. What's your headspace like? Do you have a head committee? I mean, we all have head committees, but what is that head committee telling you that you also need to work on all the time? Because these voices will come, and that's when people start giving up. It's these same voices that come and tell you you can do it. So you need to find a balance. Then, I mean, from what I've said ever since I began, I mean, it's not all dark when you come out. Though what I'm basically saying is you're going to have to grow thick skin. It's not going to be easy. You may get abused on the way or insulted, but there's something that I'm actually thinking about that my mother always used to tell me. She'd say, Carole, if someone calls you a dog, I don't even know why you'd want to bother yourself with that. You don't bark. You're not a dog. So kind of just move on. So you also have to learn how to choose your battles, because you don't really have to play in the mud all the time. Though I'm also saying stand for what you believe in. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm telling you, life owes you nothing. You've got to work hard and it will sting. However, this stinging catapults you, not just the stinging, the emotional intelligence that you acquire in your journey catapults you to maturity in life. And I've been hearing people saying, be good, be good. And be good is fantastic. Though it sounds very simple, but people must understand it in its full context, because your character is very important as you move along and mix with diverse people. Guard your reputation with your life, because it just takes one small thing for you to begin again. You will begin, but why not guard it from the onset? So try and be good. Try and be the person that you want the next person to be. And always remember that you attract who you are, not what you want to be. That's a completely different story. Then, and you know, it will be rough sometimes. I also want you to learn how to forgive yourself, because you cannot continue to bash yourself when things keep failing, because there will also be successes, but also celebrate the small successes. They are successes nonetheless, and it is one step after the other. So I think that's what I'll finish with now and join in later. Though I would advise that you get a mentor. A mentor is very, very important. A mentor, a person you look up to. You also get a different mentor at the same level where you can exchange ideas. And also get someone who you can mentor, because that also helps you grow. I have mentees who have made me grow. So, you know, pay attention to your circle of influence. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. It's a very amazing way to describe the reality and how we can take preparation on our end.
Rushdina Appa, if you can unmute yourself, and Rushdina Appa, we can hear you. Your microphone. Need to unmute. Absolutely. Brilliant. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Loud and clear.
So thank you so much. This is Augmedix Presents Next Gen Leaders Virtual Summit, brought to you by Coach Kamul Hassan Network in association with IPDC Finance, and this program partnering with Future Icon. Appa, if you can just briefly tell us, for our student, what is emotional intelligence? Maybe in Bangla, maybe in a mix. You know, how it looks, how to eat it, how to have it, how to get benefit out of it. Because you know, because many of us, it might be a very new thing. Emotional intelligence. You know, is it a machine? What it looks like? Where to get it? How to buy it? How to use it? It's a must, or what? In your word.
Right. Wow, thank you so much, Carole Bhai. Thank you so much for handing it over to me. I would really like to show my appreciation to Arif Zaman Bhai and to Carole Kimani. Carole, that was wonderful listening to you. It sounded more like a poetry, you know, the way you presented your life's insights. You could very well go on writing a book on it, and I'd love to read it. And so would our viewers and audiences. And thank you also, Arif Zaman Bhai, on your practical insights for the market. So it was really practical and ready for execution advices. Thank you. So
And also,
as I was
thanks
asked,
for joining, Tanvir, Shahriar, Rimon bhai. Thanks for joining, and we're glad to have you here. Welcome.
welcome, Tanvir Bhai. Great to see you here.
Thank you very much.
After a long time. Great. So I was asked, you know, to define emotional intelligence and its benefits. So I'm going to mix in English and Bangla as we go on. So I'm really sorry, Carole, if that causes any kind of an inconvenience as we go on. This is just for the convenience of the audience. So coming to emotional intelligence, it's actually more of a mental skill. It's about creating a mindset within you with a few competencies. এই কম্পিটেন্সি গুলো আমরা নিজেরাই তৈরি করেছি। এই কম্পিটেন্সি গুলো কোনো টাইপ করার কম্পিটেন্সি না, এক্সেল ইউজ করার কম্পিটেন্সি না, MS Word ইউজ করার কম্পিটেন্সি না, কম্পিউটার ইউজ করার কম্পিটেন্সি না। It's not at all technical. It's very non-technical. It's all to be understood and to adopt. ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্সের অলমোস্ট 26টা কম্পিটেন্সি আছে, ছোট 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 করে। এগুলো আবার বড় বড় 4টা ছাতার নিচে যায়, 4টা মেইন ছাতা। এবং ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্সের এই 4টা ছাতা নিয়ে আমি আমাদের স্টুডেন্টদেরকে বলবো। I would talk about these 4 major umbrellas, but before that let me go on to the concept first. ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্স বলে যে আমাদের মনের মধ্যে বিভিন্ন সময় বিভিন্ন সিচুয়েশনকে কেন্দ্র করে, বিভিন্ন ঘটনাকে কেন্দ্র করে আমাদের মনের মধ্যে অনেক ধরনের আবেগ তৈরি হয়, ইমোশনস তৈরি হয়। So these emotions make us do a lot of things. They have an impact on our daily activities, on our behavior, on our approach and attitude. So that's what emotional intelligence says. And it says that we are able to manage our behavior, our attitude, our approach to things that are happening around us. And we can manage our behavior toward our relationships. So that's what happens, you see, যখন আমাদের আশেপাশে মানুষজন থাকে, we have relationships around us, we have family members, we have friends, আমাদের আশেপাশে বন্ধুরা থাকে, কলিগসরা থাকে, সিনিয়র ভাই বোনেরা থাকে, জুনিয়ররা থাকে, সবার সাথে আমাদের যে একটা রিলেশনশিপ হয়, সেই রিলেশনশিপের উপর কিন্তু আমার আচার ব্যবহার অনেকখানি প্রভাব বিস্তার করে, তাই না? তো এই আচার ব্যবহারটা কোথা থেকে আসে? আমার ভালো লাগা, খারাপ লাগা, হিংসা মনে হওয়া, খুশি মনে হওয়া, আনন্দ, এসব থেকেই কিন্তু আমার আচার আচরণের উপর প্রভাবগুলো পড়ে। তো এই যে আমার মনের মধ্যে বিভিন্ন সময় বিভিন্ন ঘটনাকে কেন্দ্র করে অনেক ধরনের ইমোশন তৈরি হচ্ছে, অনেক ধরনের আবেগ তৈরি হচ্ছে, এই আবেগগুলো কিন্তু ইভেনচুয়ালি আমার বিহেভিয়ারের উপর, আমার আচার আচরণের উপর প্রভাব বিস্তার করছে। এবং সেটাই যখন আমি কথা বলছি, কারোর সাথে কোনো কাজ করতে যাচ্ছি, কোনো একটা ইন্টারাকশন হচ্ছে, সেই কাজ, কথা, ইন্টারাকশনের উপর কিন্তু এই প্রভাবটা যাচ্ছে। আমি আজকে সকালবেলা অনেকক্ষণ বাসের জন্য দাঁড়িয়েছিলাম বাস স্টপে। এখন আমার মেজাজ খুব খারাপ, কারণ বাস কিছুতেই আসছে না, 1 ঘন্টা ধরে দাঁড়িয়ে আছি। হঠাৎ আমি শুনতে পেলাম যে কোনো একটা মহাসড়কে there's some strike going on, some kind of some mishap on one of those main roads, যে কারণে the bus is very late to arrive on the bus stop, and I'm waiting for an hour, and I'm sure that I'm going to be late at the office today. So I don't want to be late for work today because already এই মাসে আমি 3 দিন লেট করেছি। So what am I feeling inside? I'm feeling very disturbed, very scared because I might be late for work, and more scared because I was already late for 3 other days in the same month. এই যে আমার মধ্যে ভয়টা কাজ করছে, this fear in me will definitely have an impact on the behavior, on the approach, on the attitude I talk to people with. আমি যখন একটা মানুষের সাথে কথা বলবো, আমি যখন অফিসে যাবো ইভেনচুয়ালি, তখন অফিসের দরজা যে খুলবে যে পিয়নটা, সে যখন সালাম দিবে, when this doorman opens this door and greets me, I would not even think of greeting him back because I'm all too occupied with my fear. তাই না? আমার ভয়, আমার অস্থিরতা, এগুলো নিয়ে কিন্তু আমি খুব ব্যস্ত হয়ে আছি, খুবই অকিউপাইড হয়ে আছি। আমার মনটা কিন্তু একদম ছেয়ে আছে এই অস্থিরতা দিয়ে। তো এই অস্থিরতাটা, it will eventually have an impact on my behavior, so I don't greet the doorman back. এই যে দরজা খুলছে পিয়ন, আমি কিন্তু তার কথার উত্তর দিচ্ছি না। The same reason may also happen afterwards. The same things may also happen afterwards. When I get to work, when I start working, when I talk to people, when I meet people, I'm still disturbed because I'm totally worried on what happened today, on how late I arrived at the work today. কাজে ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্স এই বিষয়গুলোকে কেন্দ্র করে, it's a science that we have developed. So the person who has actually contributed much on this subject is called Daniel Goleman. আপনারা যারা পড়াশোনা করেছেন ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্স নিয়ে, the subject was incubated by Daniel Goleman through his book that was back in 1998. আমরা Google search করে, like Carole said, we can Google search and find out the technical details and the details of his books. There are many books on EPDF version in Google, so you can find out and read them. কিন্তু এখন আমরা যদি কনসেপ্টটাতে বলি যে how are we going to manage our emotions? So why do we need to manage the emotions? Because এই যে কিছু কিছু emotions, they're disruptive for us. Some emotions, some negative ones are disruptive for us. এই এখনই যে ইমোশনটার কথা বললাম, the fear is actually not letting me feel confident. So if I have a meeting with a vendor, with a supplier, I may not be confident enough to go for a very strong negotiation. So it will have an impact on my conversation, on my dialogue at this negotiation board meeting because I'm fear struck. right? So fear in this case is actually a disruptive emotion. এখানে ফিয়ারটা কি একটা ডিসরাপটিভ ইমোশন, এটা আমার ক্ষতি করছে, প্রফেশনালি আমার ক্ষতির কারণ হয়ে দাঁড়াচ্ছে। তো এখন ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্স এগুলোই বলে, খুঁজে 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 they look for all those disruptive emotions. So this is what emotional intelligence talks more about. So they talk about finding out the disruptive emotion and try to convert them into your strengths. So if you are fear to lose something, convert this fear into your strength so that it turns into a determination. এই ফিয়ারটাকে আমরা যেন ডিটারমিনেশনে কনভার্ট করতে পারি, so this determination will add value to your goal, to your achieving of goal, to your process of achieving the goal, right? So this is all about emotional intelligence. We manage the negative emotions and we try to convert them positively, or we try to add them to our positive exploring of our reaching goals, to the process of reaching our goals. So emotional intelligence, there are main 4 competencies যেগুলো আমরা একটু আমি just একটু briefly আপনাদের সবাইকে বলতে চাই. First of all, it starts with self-awareness. Carole has already mentioned about self-awareness. You have to be aware. So we were talking about this lady called Rushdina who was standing at the bus stop for a bus for almost an hour, who was late for work and she's struck with fear. So if she was self-aware, she would know. যদি সে self-aware হতো, সে জানতো যে তার মধ্যে ভয়, অযাচিত ভয় অনেক কাজ করছে। Instead of feeling fearful, instead of feeling scared, she should have thought of something constructive. She should have made out some ready reasons, I mean some genuine reasons to present to her supervisor so that she won't be told off. তাকে যেন বকাবকি না করা হয় অফিসে, যেন তাকে তার বস যেন বুঝতে পারে, অফিসের কলিগরা যেন তার সিচুয়েশনটা বুঝতে পারে যে তার আসলে কোনো দোষ ছিল না। So thinking constructive, keeping her calm, সে যেন ঠান্ডা মাথায় একটু কনস্ট্রাকটিভলি চিন্তা করে, সে যেন বুঝতে পারে। So self-awareness is important because of this. You have to be aware of your own emotions, the emotions, especially those that are disruptive for you. মাঝে মাঝে আমরা কিন্তু অনেক পজিটিভ ইমোশনস এর কারণে কিন্তু ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত হই। Sometimes we are overexcited about something. We're really, really happy and we can't control our happiness. So that is considered to be our weak points for some people. Some people treat it as a weak point. They take advantage of our happiness. They take advantage of our excitement. So think about it on both perspectives. So emotional intelligence also tells you to foresee the consequences, the results of a certain emotion, and the results of the actions we are taking as a part of those emotions. Now, self-awareness is all about creating an awareness of your own emotional presence. আমাদের মধ্যে যে বিভিন্ন সময় আমাদের মধ্যে ইমোশন তৈরি হচ্ছে, এই ইমোশনের উপস্থিতি বুঝতে আমাদেরকে হেল্প করে self-awareness এর এই প্যাটার্ন. So every day we try to find out what emotions we're experiencing. এই যে সকাল থেকে রাত পর্যন্ত কি কি ঘটনা ঘটলো, এক একটা ঘটনার সাথে, so every event that is happening around us, things are happening around us, we are experiencing different things at work, at home, on the way to work. এই যে এই সময়গুলোতে বিভিন্ন ঘটনার সাথে সম্পৃক্ত অ্যাসোসিয়েটেড ইমোশনস কোনগুলো, আমরা যদি ইমোশনস গুলো দেখি আমরা এটাও বুঝবো what those emotions are triggering us to do, our activities we are taking part in, the actions we are doing, we are taking part in as a result of those emotional presence. তারপর আসে self management. এই যে হঠাৎ করে আমার একটা ইমোশনস এর কারণে I'm going into an impulsive outburst. So all of a sudden, let's say I feel threatened. একটা hijacker আসলে, there's this goon walking towards me, trying to attack me, trying to snatch my bag from me, trying to take away my handbag from me. Then একটা hijacker আসলে আমার bag নিয়ে যেতে, and I feel threatened. What would I do in this case? So there's this particular point in my head. It's called amygdala. এই amygdala আমার মাথার এই ভেতরের দিকে, ব্রেইন স্টেমের একটু উপরে লিম্বিক সিস্টেমে এই amygdalaর অবস্থান। এই amygdala আমাকে বলে, Rushdina, run away if you are not strong enough, or if you are strong enough, fight him so that you can keep your bag with you. So you see, emotions, এই যে বিভিন্ন ধরনের ইমোশনস তৈরি হয়, সেই ইমোশন কিন্তু আমাদেরকে থ্রেট অ্যাসেসমেন্ট করতে হেল্প করে, এবং as a result of these threats we develop these emotions, and it's all our behavior that it reflects on. এই ইমোশনস এর কারণে আমাদের বিহেভিয়ারাল প্রেজেন্সটা আমরা দেখি। Now emotional intelligence tells us, if I wrap it up, emotional intelligence tells us যে এই যে বিভিন্ন সময় আমরা ইমোশনস এর কারণে বিভিন্ন বিহেভিয়ার দেখাচ্ছি, বিহেভিয়ার এক্সপ্রেস করছি, we are expressing ourselves, আমরা কথা বলছি, আমাদের আচার আচরণ, নন ভার্বাল কমিউনিকেশন, presenting our ideas, interacting with people, exchanging, transacting. এর মধ্যে আমাদের emotional presence আছে. Emotions have an impact on these interaction, on these behavior, on these expressions. Are they doing good for us? Are they adding value? Are they adding value to our growth? এই ইমোশনাল প্রেজেন্সের কারণে আমি কি আমার গ্রোথের দিকে আগাচ্ছি? আমি কি গ্রোথের দিকে যেতে পারছি? Can I achieve my targets and my goals? Can I reach my ambition? So that's the question we need to ask ourselves, because emotional intelligence is a science that helps us move towards our growth. It adds to our growth to a great extent, immensely. Emotional intelligence সেটাই বলে যে আমাদের ক্ষতিকারক ইমোশনগুলো যে আমাদের ক্ষতি করছে, আমাদের পথে কাটা হয়ে দাঁড়াচ্ছে, আমাদের গোলের দিকে আমাদেরকে আগাতে দিচ্ছে না, এই ক্ষতিকারক ইমোশনগুলোকে ম্যানেজ করো। যেমন হুট করে ফিয়ারফুল হয়ে আমি কাউকে মেরে বসলাম, কারোর সাথে ঝগড়া করে বসলাম, কারোর সাথে অনেক রাগ হয়ে কথা বলে বসলাম, but at one point we need to realize that that was not the behavior we should have displayed. So all of a sudden I go on an outburst, but I should have controlled myself for a greater good, because I want a better response. I want a better response from my audience. So if I go on a head-on collision with someone I don't like, I'm not happy about, so what happens afterwards? What happens after half an hour? আধা ঘন্টা পরে কি হবে? একদিন পরে কি হবে? বা এক মাস পরে কি হবে? The relationship will break. এবং relationship ছাড়া we cannot get anywhere. We always depend on the relationships. So eventually, emotional intelligence asks us whether our emotional presence, our expressions, behavior, they're adding to the relationship and they're adding to our goal. আমরা কি আমাদের গোলে পৌঁছাতে পারি? আমাদের রিলেশনশিপ গুলো কি ভালোভাবে ম্যানেজ করতে পারি? Are we all working toward our goal? Can we achieve growth? Can we reach our goal and objectives? So this is the basic of emotional intelligence. একটু বলে নেই, just to add, the last two competencies. One is social awareness, so being aware of the emotional current among the people all around you. So that's social awareness. And then the relationship management, which includes communication skills, interpersonal skills, like Carole has already mentioned, influencing skills, coaching skills, developing people, conflict management. So you have to understand the conflict. Think about a person mindfully, একটা মানুষকে খুব একাগ্রভাবে entirely ওই মানুষটাকে uniquely দেখতে হবে, এটাকে আমরা বলি mindfully understanding a person's mindset. That leads us to conflict management, a healthy conflict management. We talk about catalyzing change. We talk about building bonds, coaching and mentoring, building trust. We talk about leadership. So all this comes into leadership, relationship management skills. So we have 4: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. So that's all about emotional intelligence in a nutshell.
Wonderful, wonderful. Those who are watching, আমাদের স্টুডেন্ট যারা শুনছেন এই মুহূর্তে, so you just need to do take notes and summarize it, and if you are submitting to us 10 session summary, you will get a book on emotional intelligence. Maybe, yeah, we can give a book of life changing, maybe Think and Grow Rich, then a certificate, then a crest, and you also can win 5 books, a championship crest and championship certificate if you become champion into this category. So leadership, so that is super achiever, knowledge seeker category. So get ready with your pen and paper and write down. So Carole, so if you also can contribute, how it has helped you in your life over the period of time, right? Overcoming the challenges, the difficulties, or managing difficult situations. Can you give some examples and things like this to understand it more? Application.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity to speak again, Coach Carole. Emotional intelligence, because I was listening to my my friend Rushdina, and Rushdina, you did a fantastic job. I like the way it all gels. Obviously the pieces that I was able to understand, though you did a fantastic job, I wasn't completely lost. There's something that I need to really clarify to the students, especially. Emotional intelligence sounds like a very soft skill. It sounds like sometimes, oh, who's going to do that? However, I want to let you know that you cannot move forward without emotional intelligence. If you do not know how to communicate, you will not get to your goal. Yes, we are living in a world where there's technology and everything, but who is behind every machine? There's a human being. Human interaction is very important. Yes, Carole. The mind is very important. So without communication skills, knowing how to deal with conflict, like she has said, you will be completely lost. So I think you need to be completely candid with yourself and ask yourself a few questions of your character, who you are, how do you communicate, how do you relate with people. And you better be honest with yourself, because if you're not, we cannot help you. You have to come out completely candid with yourself. And then something else that sounds very much like something very girlish and soft, that is very important, is it's okay to be vulnerable. Because I don't know, with different cultures, people are regarded in a certain way and should carry themselves in a certain manner. No, it's going to break you. You need balance. It is okay to be vulnerable. And that actually speaks into emotional availability, because if you are not vulnerable, what either happens to you is, of course, you're not approachable, so you cannot get help. And you did mention something about mental health. So you either become clingy or completely distant. Clingy and nobody wants you, or completely distant and nobody can reach you. So emotional availability is key. So this has kind of helped me navigate through many countries and cultures as I work with different people, because you have to understand where they're coming from as much as they understand where you're coming from. And there's a balance. You kind of meet somewhere halfway. So I don't know what else to add. I feel like we've covered a lot. There's so much in emotional intelligence.
Absolutely. So we'll be coming back to you, Carole. That was brilliant. So coming back to Rushdina Apa. So since this is for a lot of students, right? So their concern is, how can I get a job? How can I get improvement on my career? Let's talk about something, how to connect on the Viva board, how to convince the interviewer, and how to also connect over phone somebody, how to also connecting somebody on LinkedIn or somewhere. So things like this stuff, so that they can really apply immediately and get result out of it. Is that okay with you?
Right. Yes. That's wonderful. Thank you. That's a lovely question. Very much, very practical, a very practical question for today's scenario. Well, in case of emotional intelligence, this is because the question was more from the cases, from the situation that we see around us. So I'm going to start from the situation. So coming back to someone who's looking for a job, let's say someone who passed in engineering, কেউ হয়তো একজন triple E engineering, electrical engineering পাশ করে বের হয়েছে. This young engineer is not getting a job, and now the job that are offered to him are non-technical, so it's not in his own field. He's not getting a job where he could add in his own expertise, his knowledge from what he has studied. So what is he supposed to do? So that's a big question for him, right? That's one of the biggest hurdles he's facing at the moment. Now he gets a call center job, or he gets a job of a management trainee, and he doesn't know whether to pick it or to wait for an engineering job, a job of his own expertise. So that's a big a conflict that he's facing within, conflict inside his mind. So just to address these problems that our youngsters are facing these days more often, we have to think of this as a conflict in our mind. So it's a conflict of decision making. First of all, we can ask ourselves one question. So what's the worst thing that can happen if I take up this job at this bank being a management trainee? So what's the worst thing that can happen? Okay, and then the next question comes in. So as I have managed to answer that first question, the worst thing that can happen is this is a job where I may not get the recognition for the expertise and knowledge I hold because I've got good results or I've learned so well while studying engineering. So that's not the expertise I can put into this job, and I will not be recognized for my knowledge. So that's the worst thing that can happen. So what's the next question? The next question comes in is, are you able to handle this worst case scenario? Can you handle this worst thing? Okay, so the answer is yes, I can, because we often can when it comes to necessities. So if this little engineer, this youngster, who's actually also struggling financially, he has to support his family or himself financially, and he needs this job for a living, at least for a living for now. So it is definitely a good option. And when he asks himself, can you handle this worst case? Can you handle this worst consequence? So the answer automatically comes, yes, I can. Why are we saying so? Because in a job market as crisis as it is in Bangladesh, we often face this challenge. We often face the challenge of choosing the right job and the challenge of making the right decision of whether to pick this job that's available for me and also to ignore what is not available for me. So though he very much tries to get one of his own kind, of his own expertise, but he's not getting it. So why not take whatever comes up on my way? This is just one of the suggestions. You may not like to hear this, but this is reality. And at the end of the day, once again, this young engineer starts this job or gets into this interview, plays his best because he's brilliant, he talks well, he has good knowledge, and he demonstrates in the interview board that, okay, I would really like to work for your bank. And he gets this job offer. He starts with this job. Now, every morning he wakes up with this very negative toxicity in his mind that, oh my God, it's once again the banking job I've never thought of doing. Once again, it's this non-technical job I could never add in my knowledge for. So this toxic mindset actually has an impact on his performance during the day. It impacts on his behavior with his colleagues. It has an impact on the relationships he can create on the job. So if he thinks of it as a very positive opportunity to develop his relationship skills, to develop his management skills, to develop his customer relation skills, customer handling skills, complaint handling skills. This is actually a very good opportunity to develop all these skills for him. So if he thinks of all the positive aspects of this particular banking job, he would definitely know and understand what it brings for him in future. Because even in an engineering job, he needs these soft skills. He'll be needing these relationship skills. He'll be needing to know how to manage colleagues and conflicts at work and how to manage customer complaints. So this is the first thing I would like to start with. We often undermine what's on our plate. We often undermine what life offers us. So think about it in the long run. So what is it going to add on my plate after a year or after a couple of years from now? So where am I going to land? I may have another engineering job on my way. I may get another job offer while I'm still doing this job at this bank. While I'm still searching for another job, I can also get the job of my own preference. But if I leave this job or if I undermine this and jeopardize my performance, that will definitely ruin my relationships I could have constructed. It would definitely ruin my professional image, my reputation. So there's a lot to do with professionalism when it comes to emotional intelligence at work. Okay, so I'll come to the next question, that is the interview board. So when it comes to interview, sometimes we come across some challenging questions at the interview. So interviewers tend to ask us very challenging questions. They test our nerves. So it's very important to put the interviewer in a very comfortable position. So if you are challenged by saying that, okay, so you're not fit for this job, you're an engineer, why are you here why are you here for this interview? This is a banking job, all for the people who have dreamt to be a banking professional. So if this is not your dream, this is not your place. So the person can say, yes, so the candidate, person means candidate, may say, yes, I truly agree with you, sir. My resume may sound like I'm not fit for this job, but I will take it as a challenge in order to develop my management skills, in order to develop my customer relationships handling skills, complaint handling skills. So once I'm ready doing this, I may also struggle, I may also actually brick by brick develop my way, pave my way towards a greater goal. I've studied engineering, it doesn't mean I will not have the kind of job here or have the kind of opportunity in this bank. I may create my own opportunity in this bank itself. So there are so many ways to motivate yourself. So if I just add it up and summarize, we're talking about self-motivation. So self-motivation is a part of emotional intelligence, social self-management skills. So you have to create your motivation within yourself, and that's all through positive thinking of all the positive aspects of life, what life has to offer, thinking of all the consequences that may occur, that you may end up with in case you overlook the blessings that life brings you, in case you overlook the blessings that your relationships bring you at present. So it's very important to look at the consequences. So for all the people of our country, for all the youngsters of our country, the students of our country, this is what I would like to say. If you get an opportunity, try to explore them. Unless you explore them, you cannot really say what it brings you. Especially একটা opportunity, আমাদের আমরা যখন কাজ করতে থাকি আমাদের অনেক ডিসকভারি হয়, we come up with a lot of discoveries, আমরা বিভিন্ন ধরনের অনেক কিছু আবিষ্কার করি, আমরা আমাদের নিজেদেরকে আবিষ্কার করি। আমরা যখন নতুন একটা কাজে, আমরা আনএক্সপেক্টেড এই কাজের জন্য হয়তো আমরা রেডি ছিলাম না এরকম একটা চ্যালেঞ্জ নিব বলে, কিন্তু আমরা এই কাজটা করতে 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 কিন্তু অনেক কিছু ডিসকভার করি নিজের সম্পর্কে, নিজের অনেক নতুন নতুন স্কিল আমরা আবিষ্কার করি, যেটা হয়তো আমাদের ধারণাও ছিল না। কাজে তোমরা যদি এমন কোনো অপরচুনিটি পাও যেটা নিয়ে তুমি খুশি না, but at least when you get this opportunity, try to think about all the blessings that it brings. এই যে ব্লেসিংস গুলো তুমি ভাবছো, এই জিনিসটাই কিন্তু তোমাকে আলটিমেটলি তোমাকে হ্যাপিনেস দেবে, and your happiness will add to your creativity. এই হ্যাপিনেস থেকেই কিন্তু তোমার ক্রিয়েটিভিটি বাড়বে। তোমার ক্রিয়েটিভিটি যখন বাড়বে তখন তুমি সেটাকে বিভিন্ন কাজে লাগাতে পারবে। You can put into your networking skills, you can put into your relationship skills, you can add into your conflict resolution skills, তাই না? এই ক্রিয়েটিভিটির কারণেই কিন্তু সবকিছু সম্ভব। Creativity helps you in decision making, conflict resolution, problem solving, and so on. Kaji, think about things positively.
Great. So I got a question from Kurdistan of Iraq, and this is Dr. Himdad. Dr. Himdad, he's a professor of one of the university in Kurdistan in Iraq, and he's the chief executive and founder of Mega Mind Plus Academy as well. He's a professor at Salahuddin University, Erbil, Kurdistan and Iraq. So here is the question for you, that is, does emotional intelligence develop? And both of you, in fact, can answer, because I see Carole, Kimani having kids behind. So a part of the question is actually involving this as well. Carole, get ready. Cool question for you. And Rushdina as well. Does emotional intelligence develop better at home, family, or schools, or training? It is something innate or acquired from the environment.
Yes, Carole, I think you already answered a part of this on your keynote speech, but I'm sure you can add to it. So once you've done your part, I can add in.
Yes, thanks, Rushdina. Yes, I did talk about that at the beginning. Emotional intelligence, does it begin when they're kids? Emotional intelligence is about communication. It's about people. Kids are little people. Yeah. So, and it works. It works very well. Obviously, the kid begins at home with the parents and who they are interacting with. So, as a parent, you'd have done a fantastic job before handing them over to teachers ahead and trainers. Otherwise, it will be a complete disaster.
Okay,
Yeah.
is that it, Carole? Okay, right.
Well,
That's
for now.
wonderful. That's so sweet. Yes.
So we got, you want to add something?
Well, Yes, I'd like to add a few
Yeah,
lines. That's
sure,
wonderful.
sure,
Thank
sure.
you, Carole. That's very sweet of you in adding in a very sweet way. So I just wanted to add, of course, we inherit emotional intelligence by genes, by birth. So a lot of it, transfers to us through our genes. So if I had my parents or my grandparents who were amazingly emotionally intelligent, হয়তো আমার দাদা দাদিরা আমার মা বাবারা অনেক বেশি ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্ট, তাদের কাছ থেকে কিছুটা জেনেটিক্যাল ট্রান্সফার হয় আমার শরীরে, আমার ডিএনএ তে, and so I get it transferred. I inherit it from my genes, from my parents, and also I pick up a few clues from the environment around. So emotional intelligence can be developed a lot from the environment. So it depends on how I'm brought up. So the way people are, my parents are bringing me up, the environment that's surrounding me, what I see happening around me. So that has a huge impact on my behavioral expression, on my emotional intelligence. But at the same time, a great part of it develops afterwards. And it could be developed through training, through education, from outside home as well. And that's the conscious part. So we're mostly, when we trainers talk about emotional intelligence, we mostly address the conscious part, because when we inherit this through gene, we do it unconsciously as a part of our natural habit. So it's all habits, telling us to behave nicely, telling us to talk softly in front of elders, telling us to greet someone in soft voice when someone comes in at home, telling us to thank someone when someone gives you negative feedback. So these are all all these could be a part of your genes. All this could be a part of your inheritance. So you could have inherited it from your family, from your environment. But at the same time, if you are not conscious, all of a sudden, Rushdina is now 8 years old. She has developed a personality, and she's got a full-grown personality. She can't change her personality because it's a fixed thingy. It's a fixed outfit for us, right? But after 8 years, we can develop, we can change, we can make amends on our behavior. We can make amendments, right? So behaviors can be managed and changed through consciousness. So we are all talking about conscious interference. So we are all talking about conscious interference to emotional intelligence development. So we can develop emotional intelligence to a great extent through training, through coaching, and through regular practices. So that all comes from consciousness.
Correct. So there is very, I think, timely question asked by Nishat Tabassum. I want to bring it, both of you can address, because this is such a vital issue today. How to de-stress? How to de-stress? Because I
Okay.
guess it, because of the COVID, maybe because everybody is stressed before and after both. So how to utilize the emotional power and de-stress and relief?
Right. Maybe Carole could start. I love listening to her. She's amazing, even listening to her helps me de-stress. So Carole, can you add it? I can follow you.
Carole, you see, already a lot of people are saying, "Wow, your smile is love your smile, ma'am." It's
I told you.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you.
And also Durjoy is a man. He says, "Carole, your smile, love it."
Ooh.
You see, watch out, watch out, right? Okay, so how to do this is also Shupala Roy. Love a smile, ma'am. Good.
They must like the content. Tell them it goes with a smile.
Everything about it. Everything about it. Not only the content. Everything about it.
In fact, this is the answer also. How to de-stress? Just laugh.
Yeah. It is.
Actually,
This is
Coach
the
Carole, you're right. There's nothing as beautiful as laughter. Laughter does wonders. However, first you need to deal with, first you need to be pragmatic. Since now you're talking about the COVID times.
Right. Yes.
Because only when you're pragmatic about something and you know it's there, then you start putting safety measures and knowing perhaps it's not going tomorrow or Tuesday. So what are you going to do that brings joy to your soul? In fact, I wanted to add something earlier about setting the tone of your day. That is the most important thing, I think, when you wake up, because of positive thoughts as well. Remember, when you're positive, when you have positive thoughts, you're happy, you're bubbly, you can take on the world, you know, and that actually allows your mind to be able to churn good things. So I really think happiness, find whatever makes you happy.
Wow. Very nice.
Well, we're at least hoping it's a good thing that makes you happy. I'm not saying go find, I don't know what.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet, Carole.
Thank you, Rushdina. Well, I think I just say it as it is, and I try and find the easiest way possible to just cross the message, whereby even a true youngster would get the point, because they're still little people. So I guess it's happiness, but Carole, I like that. Laugh. I will not send you to yoga, or, you know, just find your peace.
Reason to laugh, yes.
And there is one more thing. Yeah, there's one more thing is that's the solution of every stress. You know what? Just this: close your eyes and silence.
Absolutely.
It's the power. Silence is key, because we are running, moving. Because even I work nowadays 16, 17 hours, but I put, you know, I think almost 2 hours in silence myself, and I get entire research, everything, and that's the great thing. If you can put yourself on silence time, even 10 minutes in morning, 10 minutes in the evening, you get refresh and rejuvenating soul and mind and heart, because it gets to heal. It gets to your brain to recalibrate, rejuvenate, and recharge from infinite amount of that. Rushdina was saying that's not the conscious mind, that's subconscious mind back connecting with the infinite power, intelligence. That's a super intelligence, not emotional intelligence. I call it super intelligence, connecting with this in the silence. And Dr. Wayne Dyer said, you know, the gap inside the mind, because our mind is running crazy, 60 to 70,000 thoughts every day, and that makes us super crazy either. And to deal with that is think less on thoughtless situation, stay just there on silence. Your comments on that?
Absolutely. Let me just add on quickly before I hand over. I call that the head committee. Sometimes you must just tell it to shut up and rest, because there are all these things happening. So I do truly agree with that, as they find their happiness. Okay, my dear Rushdina.
There are, if you want to add anything, Rushdina Khan, apni jodi kono chat korte chan with this, and we have lots of question. Lots of question. Let's say, beautiful smile is not a question, so it's an question. How can I control? It's a Salma Hussein. Can I have the question on the skin? Computer Mahashai, Salma Hussein ki question in front of the skin le jayegi, or something like this, right? I don't know actually, but trying to. How can I control my emotion in job field when I will not feel comfort in my job, but I will not have an option to run out because of financial problem? Be smile, maybe again. So,
can I control my emotion in job field when I don't feel confident in my job? Okay, right, yes. So think about the blessings that your job is bringing to you. So if I could add, just taking the opportunity. So think about all the blessings that this job is bringing to you. So I'm not enjoying this job and I don't like it, but think about all those things you're getting out of it at the end of every month. So what is it doing to you? And what will happen if it wasn't there? what do you think would happen if it wasn't there? এই জবটা যদি না থাকতো তাহলে কি হতো তোমার জীবনে? সেই জিনিসগুলো, think about the consequences of not having this job. Of course, we always have preferences. আমাদের সবারই কিন্তু একটা preference থাকে. Think about it in the wider context. The house you're living in may not be up to your expectations. It not be as beautiful as you expected it to be, but you're still living in it. Because if you haven't had this house, where would you live? You're nowhere. You don't have a place to stay. So whatever house you had, you accepted it because it's the answer to your being nowhere. It's a solution to your being nowhere, right? So think about your job on that in the same context. Think about what you have for dinner. So even if you don't like what you have in your plate, so tonight you have something in your plate and you don't like eating it, you would prefer something better than this. You would prefer a great feast maybe, but that's all you can afford at this moment. And maybe a lot other people are not even able to afford this. যেটা তুমি পাচ্ছ, so there are a lot other people who are not able to afford even this much. So think about it on that perspective. So you see, there's this dopamine thing in our nervous system. It's called a neurotransmitter. এটাকে আমরা বলি dopamine. এটার নাম হচ্ছে একটা chemical. It's a neurotransmitter. It's called dopamine. So dopamine gets charged up. It gets you moving on the drive, motivated and energized when it gets released. And how does dopamine gets released? Dopamine release করার একটা উপায় হচ্ছে think about the blessings of life. Think about how better you are than the other people. Think about all the blessings your current context is bringing to you. এই যে এই বর্তমান context. So what are the blessings that this context is bringing to you? So think about all the blessings, all the good sides of life, all the good sides of your job, all the good sides of this house that you're not enjoying living in, all the good sides of the dinner. তাহলে দেখবে অনেক এনার্জাইজ ফিল করবে, তাহলে দেখবে জবে তোমার ভালো লাগবে। And another thing is connect with people. So connection with people, talking with people, developing, focusing on relationships, they charge you up. অনেক চাকরি আছে, there are many jobs we don't like doing, but when you have good friends around, when you make friends with the people you work with, your co-workers, you really get to like it. You look forward to going to work. So that's what happens when you make connections, when you develop relationships, when you go into constructive relationships at work. So if you enjoy the environment around, you'll enjoy the work too.
Sit down. Great, thank you. So the next question, we're going to, okay, it goes to, before Carole, you answer it, that is an important, very good, comments from Rahi Khandakar. Can I have Rahi Khandakar's comment? Really interesting from Australia, Melbourne. I just joined and just started hearing about Carole's laugh. Could you please let me experience that amazing laugh? Smile again.
She can't control it now.
I don't even want to laugh.
Oh, sweet. That's so sweet.
There is, I know one person. His name is Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, on my line, a spiritual person from India, I think. He spent his 25 years into the mountains, the Himalayas. So he's the person, late 90s, he left the world and he traveled all over the world. So he actually laughed so much. If anybody asked him the question, he just laughed first. So all the world famous stars are where his student, I would say. They used to go to him and take the spiritual lessons. You can search Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. It's just old man, old thoughts, but the spiritual person. It reminds me your laugh and his giggling way of laughing. It's wonderful.
Sweet.
Keep it up, fantastic.
Yes, you must.
Fantastic. I think that's the biggest answer for any question. Even any question, you don't have to have any answer. Just laugh. So
Oh yeah, it does magic.
Yeah.
Correct. That's the answer of everything. Okay, I'm gonna hang you for 2 minutes because we got some announcement. Let me bring First, our cultural programs, which is going to happen on 25th, 11 p.m. That's the closing ceremony for our student, and it would be run by a student. If you're artist performing dance, songs, debate, fun, anything, poem recitation, anything that you want to do, let us know. We want to bring you on 25th, just 2 days from now, for your performance. That's the closing ceremony. So that's one cultural program. And can we have the next thing is what's coming up tomorrow? What is the lineup for tomorrow's session? Let's see. I think some exciting sessions are lined up for tomorrow. Can we have, let us see, so that our audience can know actually what's going to happen tomorrow. Who is coming up? What's next? Three important things, like campus to corporate, what actually you need, and then public speaking skills. And we got in fact 4 international speakers for public speaking session from UK, from Scotland, from Iraq, Kurdistan of Iraq, and from Philippines. 4 international speakers along with 1 local, Mr. Amanullah Aman of English Olympiad. We got 4 international speakers, 1 local for public speaking, how you can actually master it and improve your skills. And then coming up next, 9 p.m., gender diversity and inclusion, the next big thing. The world is moving crazy and chaos, as you have experienced in the US, right? The things what has happened. And I'm bringing again from Europe to Africa, to African women, and to European white men as well. So, because we want to see the debate, what it actually takes to bring the diversity and inclusion, and why the world needs so much. So that's the big thing. We really need to understand diversity, inclusion, and its inclusive leadership. So coming up tomorrow. And then a quiz tonight. If you want to win tonight something, that's the quiz for you. The next 10 seconds to answer A, B, C, and D. So just type A, B, C, D, whatever you think correct and whatever you want. If you don't know, just type everything, A, B, C, and D, 4 times 4 letter. Easy. Tashpia, good to answer first. Oh, Tashpia, A and B both. Okay. Oh, C. A, B, C, 1. Okay. Tashpia, A, B, and C, D. Wow. So that's the smartest ever, right? All right. So Computer Mahashai, skin out, quiz out. All right. Thank you. Fantastic. Great. So, somebody answering all this. And we got great answer for women as well. Scholarship. We got 1 crore taka worth of scholarship for 100 women student, female student of Bangladesh. It could be even more. And you need to apply for it. Can we have the email address where our student can send the CV? And if you're really looking forward to the financial sector career korte chao, apply karo. One of the very essential qualification, $1,000 worth of program. 1 student, we will give 100 student at least. So $100,000 scholarship, 85 lakh taka plus, more than crore taka scholarship would be given to our female student. Apply and watch out. So that's it for the announcement. So, and if you have learned something tonight with pen and paper, you need to submit it. And if you're submitting 10 session summary, you will get a book, crest, and certificate, right? And if you're champion, 5 books, championship crest, championship certificate, and so many things. Facebook Live inviting you as a super achiever, knowledge seeker. And also, I can coach you 1 session to build a habit. If you can build habit will build you. Over to you, Rushdina Khan. Habit and emotional intelligence, how interconnected it is.
So emotional intelligence is a part of it becomes a part of your habit as you start practicing it. It takes time to grow this habit. It's not an overnight thingy. You don't really switch it on and it starts happening all of its own. It needs the habit. So if you want to bring it to the conscious, it has to be out of your habit because you have your impulses that is also happening out of your habit. এই যে আমরা বলছি আমাদের ক্ষতিকারক ইম্পালস গুলো বিভিন্ন সিচুয়েশনে আমাদের কিছু ডিসরাপটিভ ইমোশন তৈরি হচ্ছে। নাও ইমোশন গুলো কিন্তু আনকনসিয়াসে তৈরি হচ্ছে। The emotions are being created in the unconscious mind. আমরা কিন্তু প্রথমত বুঝতে পারি না। Through practice, we grow this habit of identifying it. To start with, emotional intelligence, the first part is to start identifying it. So that part I told you about already. It's the self-awareness part. That's the first competency of emotional intelligence. You have to be emotionally self-aware through creating this habit. So that's the first habit you grow. And then you grow the habit of managing it. এই যে আমি বুঝতে পারছি যে এরকম সিচুয়েশন দেখলে এরকম এই সিচুয়েশন গুলো আমাকে ট্রিগার করে আউটবার্স্ট করতে। এই ধরনের পার্টিকুলার আচরণটা দেখলে হঠাৎ করে আমার রাগ উঠে যায়। এই জিনিসটা দেখলে হঠাৎ করে আমার ভয় লেগে যায়। I feel so fear struck. I get fear struck. I feel so scared of such situations and this particular situation. I feel so upset and at such behavior. আমার সাথে আমার কলিগ এভাবে কথা বলে I feel so upset. I freeze all of a sudden. I faint. I feel like running away. So it's these extreme reactions that we undergo. এগুলো সবই কিন্তু habit থেকে হচ্ছে. So we have to manage that habit and create a new one. So because we are a partner to People Builders Australia and People Builders and the Institute of Social Emotional Intelligence, they have created this very sweet model. It's a 4R model. The model says recognize, reject, rewire, and replace. So it's very easy for you to remember. It's 4R. প্রথমে recognize করতে হবে. First, you recognize that it exists. You need to overcome this habit, act a painful habit, some habit which is painful, which is harming your lifestyle, which is creating an obstacle to reaching your goals. So you recognize that habit and now you reject it. You want to reject that habit. So you get over it, you overcome that habit. How? By rewiring it. So rewire your brain with a new habit, with a good one that's going to help you to grow, to achieve your goals, right? And then you replace. So get rid of the old one and replace the new one. So replace it with the new one. So that's exactly what we do. So habit, yes, emotional intelligence becomes a part of your habit. সবসময় কিন্তু তুমি চিন্তা ভাবনা করে প্ল্যান ওয়াইজ তোমার বিহেভিয়ার কন্ট্রোল করতে পারবে না, but you can control your behavior through habit. So once again it becomes your habit. তুমি প্রথম for the first time in your life you start working on a spreadsheet, it's so difficult. You keep on finding the keys, the right formulas, the shortcuts, and you think and you go to Google, the techniques shared in the Google and in tutorials and all. তখন কিন্তু তোমার হ্যাবিটস থাকে না, তখন তোমাকে খুঁজে খুঁজে এটার সাথে ওটা দিলে এক্সেলে এটা করা যাবে, ওটা করা যাবে, এটা করা যাবে, এরকম করতে থাকো। সো ইটস নট ইউর হ্যাবিট। ইউ কিপ অন থিংকিং হোয়াটস নেক্সট, এটার জন্য কি করব, কি ফর্মুলা অ্যাপ্লাই করব। বাট once you start using it very frequently, after frequent uses, more often uses, at one point you grow it as your habit. তখন কিন্তু তোমাকে দেখাতে হয় না যে এই কি এর সাথে এই কি দিলে তোমার এক্সেলে তুমি এই জিনিসটা করতে পারবে, এই ক্যালকুলেশন এই ফর্মুলার তোমার অ্যাপ্লাই হবে, right? So it's all a habit. So anything that you do on a regular basis, it becomes a part of your habit. So a good behavior, constructive relationships, constructive behavior, positive attitude, they all become your habit. You don't even have to think before you project it, before you reflect on it.
So you want to add anything? We got so many comments for Rushdina Khan Appa as well.
Okay.
Snigdha Shimu, I want to see, can I have the question on the screen? I want to see, that's a challenge. I want to see Rushdina ma'am in every session. That's very, can I have the, see, that's the question. And also Sanjida Rahman Esha, a few comments later, you can see Sanjida Rahman Esha, ma'am, your enunciation is remarkable. I think it's going towards Rushdina Khan as well, looks like. So and also a lot of laughing comments as well. I think it has many comments, many things. Amazing, ma'am. Amazing things. Amazing love. Keep continue loving. So fantastic. So great. So Carol and Arif Bhai is back. Arif Bhai, we had a lot of things. If you want to add anything coming back from Richard's situations, you know, we talked about controlling emotions, bad behavior, bad days, stress, love, anger, happiness, habit. Which one you want to
Yeah,
pick?
yeah, Kamal bhai, আমি যেটা মানে emotional intelligence, what I loved about it, basically what happened, আমরা যদি if we trace back to the history, যে গত 200 বছর কিন্তু it was a time for just production and মানে মানুষকে যত বেশি খাটানো যায় এবং কাজ করে টাকা ইনকাম করা, এরকম একটা কম্পিটিশন ছিল। আমি যদি বলি শিল্প বিপ্লবের পরবর্তী যে অধ্যায়টা ছিল, so focusing more on the production, more doing more, so it had become a very mechanical বা machine একটা approach ছিল। So the like it's a good thing that গত 20-30 বছরে ইউএসএ তে now the focus has been given to the human approach. Yes, we are working with the human being, so let's be human again. এবং এই কারণেই কিন্তু বলা হচ্ছে যে কোম্পানিগুলোকে বলা হচ্ছে they are the people's factory, so it's no longer a stable অর্গানাইজেশনকে এখন টেকনিক্যাল ডেফিনিশন হিসেবে কেউ ভাবছে না, যেটা আমি ইনপুট দিব একটা আউটপুট বের হবো, গার্মেন্টস ফ্যাক্টরির মতো না। It's a people's factory, so we have to inspire the people so that they can deliver their best and they can make great interaction with others, they can be good with the customers, and বলা হচ্ছে যে বর্তমানে আমরা কনজিউমার বলছি না, আমরা বলছি সবাই কাস্টমার, so everybody has a different sort of need, so আমাকে এখন মাস কাস্টমাইজেশনে যেতে হবে, প্রত্যেকটা মানুষের জন্য আমাকে আলাদা প্রোডাক্ট ডিজাইন করতে হবে বা somehow I have to different, so বলা হচ্ছে এআই এর যুগে ইন্টেলিজেন্স উইল বি মোস্ট ভ্যালুয়েবল স্কিলস, এবং কোভিড এর পরে আরো বোঝা গিয়েছে যে ওয়াই ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্স উইল বি মোর ভ্যালুয়েবল ইন দ্য কামিং ডেজ। সো যারা আমাদের তরুণরা আছে আমাদের প্রোগ্রাম শুনছে, আমি সবাইকে অনুরোধ করব যে আমি সবসময় কথাটা বলি যে আইকিউতে আমরা আসলে বায়োলজিক্যালি পিছিয়ে আছি আমেরিকা থেকে বা উন্নত বিশ্ব থেকে, কিচ্ছু করার নাই। আর আরেকটা গুড নিউজ শেয়ার করতে পারি, গত কয়েক বছরে আইকিউ 25 পয়েন্ট বেড়ে গিয়েছে এভারেজ, অন অ্যান এভারেজ। তার মানে মানুষ পিপল আর ফোকাসিং মোর অন দ্য অ্যানালিটিক্যাল থিং, বাট লেট মি শেয়ার অ্যানাদার গ্রেট নিউজ, ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্স 25 পয়েন্ট কমে গিয়েছে। সো আই থিংক দ্যাট দেয়ার উই শুড ডাইভ ইনটু ইট। আমাদের বাংলাদেশিদেরকে বলবো আমরা আইকিউতে অথবা একটু পিছিয়ে থাকতে পারি, কিন্তু ইকিউটা যদি প্র্যাকটিস করে, বিকজ ইটস এ লার্ন স্কিল, এটাতে আমরা প্র্যাকটিস করলে আমরা এগিয়ে আসতে পারবো এবং উন্নত বিশ্বের সাথে কম্পিটিশন করার জন্য ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্সটা শেখা দরকার। বেশি করে আমি মাঝে মাঝে এভাবে বলি যে আমার 100 আইকিউ দিয়ে আমি 120 আইকিউর লোককে বিট করতে পারি, ইফ মাই ইকিউ ইজ মোর দ্যান হিম। সো এই জায়গাটায় আমি স্ট্রেচ করতে থাকি, ইটস এ মাসল, সো লেটস বিল্ড দ্য মাসল। আজকে যে আমরা যারা বাংলাদেশে দেখি যে তরুণ প্রজন্ম সবচেয়ে বেশি কাজ করছে, এখন জিমে প্রচুর সময় দিচ্ছে, ইভেন আজকাল দেখলাম যে লেডিসদের জন্য সুন্দর সুন্দর জিম হচ্ছে, সাদিয়া জিম এবং এইটাও জিম। লেটস হ্যাভ এ লাইক জিম ফর ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্স। ওই মাসলটা আমরা বাড়াই, একই সাথে আমাদের পেশিও শক্ত হবে আর মাথাটাও শক্ত হবে, তাহলে আমরা উন্নত বিশ্বের সাথে প্রতিযোগিতা করতে সক্ষম হবো এবং 2041 সালে আমরা ঠিকই ডেভেলপ দেশে পরিণত হতে পারবো।
Absolutely. So we got a lot of comments. We're closing. So Carole, your point.
Yeah.
You'd love to see all the comments. So please give your say our smiling queen, Carole ma'am from Supalaroy. Can we have Carole ma'am again? Love with a smile. You see, a lot of things. Okay, let me sing Carole ma'am. Your smile is awesome. Love to hear Rushdina ma'am from Imshad. So very good, inspiring. You will go through. You must go through, please. You will love it. You will smile it more. So please, yeah, can I have your concluding remarks from Carole to Rushdina Khan, please? We're about to close.
Cool. So I think I cannot add anything more from the last part that Rushdina put together. Fantastic. I think the only thing I can add to that is I believe an attitude of gratitude goes a long way. And it changes the dynamics of everything, your mindset. And again, it brings happiness once again. So I guess how we'll finish, I did enjoy the session. It was lovely meeting all of you. And to the students, I'm thinking, what's the call to action? perhaps we've said very many things. Perhaps pick just one or two things. Don't overwhelm yourselves and start working on that, because emotional intelligence is a journey and it continues as the barriers keep coming, as the terrain keeps changing. We keep learning every day. So thank you very much, everyone. Bahut shukriya.
Thank you, Carole. So lovely. So, Rushdina can please step up.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here today. It was a great opportunity talking for all of you, all the lovely students of our country. And I look forward to interact with you more. I don't know how, but maybe through some more summits that will be organized with Kamrul Hassan Bhai again in the near future. So my advice to you is, life is all about making yourself and your surroundings happy. So I'm actually picking out the words we've already mentioned. Kamrul Hassan Bhai, Carole, Arif Zaman Bhai, and myself, we've already mentioned these words. So I'm just summarizing it. So making yourself happy isn't enough. We're more happy to see people around us happy. We're more happy to see the environment around us happy, our children happy, our parents, our friends, our relatives, family members happy. So think about happiness in terms of relationships. Focus on your relationships. Invest on your relationships. Relationships are the key to your happiness. So invest in it. Emotional intelligence is a part of your skill. You will be able to develop it. But it's not the only skill that's important for your relationships. Relationships is the ultimate happiness for everyone. It leaves you happy as long as you live. It helps people remember you. It keeps people remembering you, even if you are not there, even if you're not living. So relationship matters the most, through emotional intelligence or not. So keep yourself happy and the people around you happy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Arif Zaman Bhai, so since we have missed a bit of time from you, so how you want to sum up your emotional intelligence doses that they're going to take it forward and to apply it for the real life?
আমার যেটা বিশ্বাস হয় সেটা হচ্ছে যে আমি ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্সকে এভাবে ব্যাখ্যা দিই, সেটা হচ্ছে যে emotional intelligence is basically put your IQ into practice basically. So I can have a good IQ, but if I don't practice it, if I don't have the IQ, I will not be able to use my IQ to the maximum level. And the another dangerous thing is that sometimes within a moment I can lose all of my credentials by doing some stupid activities basically. And that has happened with so many like mostly we give the examples of a sportsman because that is always being seen, but we don't see what happened in the corporate life. But I have seen so many people from my experience of working for 7 different universities. I have seen that sometimes like some senior people, like they behave in such a way that they basically lose all of their credentials. So emotional intelligence, these two parts is very important, like how you can utilize your IQ and don't do the stupid things in that crisis or critical moment. So so that you can let your journey continue basically and lead yourself to the prosperity. So that is the takeaway, I should say.
Thank you so much. And Augmedix presents Next Gen Leaders Virtual Summit in association with IPDC Finance, and gold partner is Prime Finance and Investment Limited. Strategic partners Jump, Sensei, K Leadership, Wazani Foundation, career partner Kormo By Google. Please don't forget to download it. And rakomari.com, knowledge partner, outreach partner, youth opportunities. And this program particularly brought to you by Feature Icon as well. We are collaborating with different organizations as a part of our, strengthening the relationship emotionally and connecting with. Thank you so much, distinguished panel. Rushdina Khan ma'am, Carole, the laughing queen. Tonight's the designation for you, and people are all looking forward to you in LinkedIn. Watch out. SM Arif Zaman Bhai, thank you so much. And audience, you guys are on fire. And so glad to have all of you. I think thousands of comments tonight. Watch out. Thank you, and see you tomorrow. 4 different programs tomorrow. Thank you so much. Take care. May God bless all of you emotionally.